What if Men in Black wasn't just a sci-fi comedy, but a movie that accidentally brushed up against reality? For years, rumors have swirled that the film revealed more than it was supposed to. Strange visitors, secret government interest, and bizarre behind-the-scenes chaos that sounds almost too wild to believe. Behind those black suits and shiny sunglasses lies a vault of stories that Hollywood never intended you to know. So let's dive deep into the untold secrets, controversies, and crazy near misses that shaped Men in Black into the phenomenon we remember today. Government shadows on set. Filming Men in Black in 1996 was supposed to be a light-hearted ride. Aliens, neuralizers, and Will Smith cracking jokes. But according to several crew members, things got a little too real. During production, mysterious men showed up on set. They weren't extras, they weren't visiting executives, and they certainly weren't fans. These guys wore the serious expressions you'd expect from, well, actual Men in Black. Nobody ever saw credentials. They didn't ask for photos or autographs. They simply observed, walked around like they owned the place, and disappeared. Cast members later joked that these visitors were making sure the movie didn't spill too much truth about extraterrestrial activity. One crew member claimed he locked eyes with one of them and immediately forgot what year it was. Another swore his lunch tasted like surveillance after one brushed past him. Steven Spielberg didn't invite them. Tommy Lee Jones didn't know them. Even Will Smith joked that if they were casting agents, they needed acting lessons. To this day, nobody can explain exactly why they were there. Was it paranoia? A prank? Or was the government making sure a comedy about secret alien policing didn't accidentally reveal real classified programs? Whatever the answer, it set the tone for a film forever haunted by whispers of the unknown. But if the set itself was strange, what nearly happened behind the casting curtain was even stranger. Will Smith almost walked away. It's hard to imagine Men in Black without Will Smith as Agent J, but the Fresh Prince almost turned the role down flat. The mid-1990s were massive for him. He'd conquered television with The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, launched his rap career, and exploded into movies with Independence Day in 1996. But that success created a problem. Smith didn't want to be typecast as the alien movie guy. When director Barry Sonnenfeld offered him the script for Men in Black, Smith hesitated. Too much space, not enough variety. He gave it a polite maybe, leaning heavily toward no. But then his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, stepped in. After reading the script, she told him point blank, "You'd be crazy to pass this up." Even with Jada's encouragement, Smith dragged his feet until Spielberg himself picked up the phone. Imagine that moment. Spielberg doesn't beg, he just says, "I'm Steven Spielberg." That was all it took. Smith signed on, and the rest is history. But here's the twist. If Smith had refused, Agent J could have been played by someone very, very different. Casting curveballs. Before Will Smith locked in, producers had a string of unusual names in mind. For Agent K, the grizzled veteran, the studio seriously considered Clint Eastwood. Picture Dirty Harry in a black suit, scowling at aliens and muttering, "Go ahead, make my galaxy." It could have worked, but Eastwood passed. At nearly 70, he wasn't interested in chasing bug monsters through sewers. Then came the role of Agent J. Believe it or not, Ross from Friends almost got the job. Yes, David Schwimmer was offered the role, but turned it down to direct an indie project. Imagine Agent J stammering through alien interrogations or screaming about sandwiches when his lunch got stolen. And if that wasn't strange enough, Danny DeVito was briefly floated as a possibility. Picture it. 4'0" Agent J sprinting after aliens, sunglasses larger than his head, trading insults in a Jersey accent. Funny? Maybe. Cool? Definitely not. Thankfully, fate and Spielberg chose Will Smith. His swagger, humor, and charm balanced Tommy Lee Jones's stone-faced delivery perfectly. Without him, Men in Black could have been a forgettable odd couple comedy. Instead, it became iconic. But the odd casting choices weren't the only hidden twist. The origins of Men in Black weren't nearly as funny as the movie turned out to be. The dark comic book origins. Long before Ray-Bans and wisecracks, Men in Black began as a comic series published in the early 1990s by Aircel Comics, later absorbed by Malibu Comics. And here's the shocker: it wasn't funny at all. The comic was dark, violent, and unsettling. The agents didn't just wipe memories, they erased entire people. They hunted not only aliens but demons, vampires, and supernatural threats. They weren't charming defenders of Earth. They were ruthless, morally ambiguous enforcers who answered to nobody. When Spielberg and Sonnenfeld got their hands on the material, they decided audiences weren't ready for that. They stripped away the brutality, added humor, and created a buddy cop dynamic. Out went the cold-blooded executions. In came Frank the Pug and the caffeine-addicted worm guys. Still, traces of that darkness linger. Tommy Lee Jones's Agent K has an icy, almost haunted demeanor. The bug villain is nightmare fuel. Beneath the jokes, you can still glimpse the shadows of the original vision. And the script wasn't the only thing that changed. Even the ending was completely re-engineered. The ending that never happened. Believe it or not, the movie's explosive finale almost didn't exist. Early drafts had a very different climax. A giant alien with massive lips delivering a philosophical monologue about the galaxy's fate. Picture Agent J nodding through a cosmic TED Talk instead of blasting a cockroach into goo. Test audiences hated it. The response was so bad that Sonnenfeld and Spielberg scrapped the entire sequence. Instead, they dreamed up the now famous bug battle, Vincent D'Onofrio's Edgar, transforming into a towering roach puppet, slimy, disgusting, and terrifying. That change saved the movie. Instead of dozing through a lecture, audiences got thrills, gross-outs, and a finale that cemented Men in Black as unforgettable. But pulling it off wasn't easy. It required an old-school approach that few films dare to use today. Practical effects madness. In an age before CGI dominated, Men in Black relied heavily on practical effects. Rick Baker, the legendary makeup artist, led a team that created dozens of aliens by hand. Each creature took between 5 and 6 hours to prepare. Actors sat in chairs while armies of artists glued, painted, and strapped on prosthetics. Vincent D'Onofrio's transformation into Edgar the Bug was particularly brutal. To capture that unsettling, broken-down shuffle, he studied his toddler niece's wobbly walk. Then he wrapped his legs in ace bandages to restrict movement and wore nearly 30 pounds of prosthetics. His alien voice came from practicing groans and crunches until he sounded like his joints were made of broken glass. And that goo-filled final battle? Totally real. The giant animatronic roach stood over 9 feet tall, and when it exploded, gallons of slime made of oatmeal, syrup, and who knows what were blasted at the actors. Tommy Lee Jones nearly walked off set from the smell, while Will Smith just laughed and said it reminded him of sour salad. As if the makeup and goo weren't enough, the set had its own share of chaos. On-set chaos and diva dogs. Tommy Lee Jones wasn't just acting grumpy, he rewrote many of his own lines. If dialogue felt too fluffy, he slashed it with his pen, sharpening it into cold, dry humor. Some of the most iconic Agent K moments came straight from Tommy's edits. Will Smith, meanwhile, struggled to keep a straight face. Jones's deadpan delivery was so intimidating that Smith repeatedly forgot his lines. Imagine trying to crack a joke while a man with the glare of a disappointed principal stares you down. Their awkward tension turned into genuine chemistry, creating one of the best odd couple dynamics in movie history. Then there was Mushu, the pug who played Frank. Mushu had more handlers than some human actors and demanded endless takes. He would yawn, bark, or simply fall asleep mid-scene. Peanut butter was used to sync his mouth with dialogue. Despite the headaches, Mushu stole every scene he was in, becoming the furry face of the franchise. But while the cast wrestled with lions and diva dogs, a much bigger influence quietly shaped the entire film. Spielberg's hidden hand. Steven Spielberg wasn't just the executive producer, he was the guardian angel of Men in Black. He insisted on casting Will Smith when the studio wanted a safer, whiter choice. He pushed for humor to balance the darker tones, and he approved the mix of lovable aliens and explosive action that made the movie a hit with both kids and adults. Spielberg even slipped in mysterious touches, like Agent K's line, "Elvis isn't dead, he just went home." At the time, it was just a clever gag. But later sequels confirmed the idea celebrities as undercover aliens. Fans still debate whether it was foreshadowing or just a wink at one of America's biggest cultural myths. Either way, it added a layer of mystery that still fuels speculation today. Conclusion: fact, fiction, or something in between. Men in Black wasn't just a blockbuster. It was a collision of strange coincidences, bold casting choices, and behind-the-scenes chaos. Real government agents showing up, Will Smith almost saying no, Clint Eastwood nearly playing K, a dark comic transformed into a comedy, a scrapped ending saved by goo, makeup nightmares, diva dogs, and Spielberg's hidden fingerprints. It's no wonder the movie feels like more than fiction. In some ways, it was. The line between reality and imagination blurred, leaving audiences to wonder just how much truth slipped into the comedy. After all, if Elvis really did just go home, who's to say other stars aren't hiding in plain sight? So the next time you see someone with oversized sunglasses and an unreadable expression, don't be so sure they're just trying to look cool. They might just be keeping Earth's biggest secret. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden world behind Men in Black, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that Hollywood doesn't want you to know. And tell me in the comments, do you think Elvis was really an alien, or was it just a joke that went too far?